Sudden. Catastrophic.
Whoa! Oh,
Preventable. From massive explosions to structural collapses and warehouse disasters, these are moments where everything went terribly, terribly wrong. April 17th, 2013, the small town of West Texas. The West Fertilizer Company had been operating since 1962, supplying farmers across the region. On this evening, a fire broke out inside a seed and fertilizer building. Volunteer firefighters rushed to the scene. At 7:50 p.m., after battling the blaze for 20 minutes, the building exploded. Over 30 tons of ammonium nitrate detonated with the force of 10 tons of TNT. The explosion registered as a 2.1 magnitude earthquake. The blast was heard 50 miles away. 15 people were killed, 12 of them volunteer firefighters who had rushed to help. Nearly 300 others were injured. A crater 93 feet wide and 12 feet deep was all that remained where the plant had stood. To this day, no one knows what started the fire, though investigators later determined it was deliberately set.
it should collapse. There. Looks like it just jumped out the window.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, you okay?
March 15th, 2018, Miami, Florida. A brand new pedestrian bridge designed to connect Florida International University across a busy 8-lane highway was days away from completion. The 174-foot concrete span had been built using an accelerated technique, then lifted into place by massive cranes. On this Thursday afternoon, a construction crew was adjusting tension rods inside one of the bridge's truss members. At 1:46 p.m., dash cam footage captured the moment everything went wrong. The bridge suddenly blew outward. The entire span lost structural integrity and collapsed onto the highway below. 8 vehicles were crushed. 6 people were killed instantly. 10 others were injured. Investigators later determined that the engineering firm had made catastrophic calculation errors in the bridge's design. Cracks had appeared days before, but instead of closing the road, engineers decided to adjust the tension rods. It was the adjustment that triggered the collapse. June 27th, 2015. New Taipei City, Taiwan. Over 4,000 young people packed into the Formosa Fun Coast Water Park for a Color Play Asia party, a rave featuring colored powder effects. Staff used air blowers to spray colored cornstarch powder over the crowd, creating spectacular visual effects. At 8:30 p.m., an overheated stage light, reaching temperatures over 750 degrees Fahrenheit, ignited the suspended powder cloud. A massive fireball erupted across the stage and pool area. Nearly 500 people were engulfed in flames. Most wore swimwear, providing almost no protection. The average burn coverage was 44% of total body surface area. 15 people died from their injuries. It became Taiwan's largest medical emergency since the 1999 earthquake. Investigators found that event organizers had ignored warnings on the cornstarch packaging, which clearly stated the powder was flammable. The organizer was sentenced to 5 years in prison. October 23, 1989, Pasadena, Texas. The Phillips Petroleum Company's Houston Chemical Complex produced millions of pounds of plastic daily. At 1:05 p.m., maintenance workers were clearing a clogged pipe on a polyethylene reactor. But safety valves, designed to prevent gas leaks, had been installed backward. Over 85,000 pounds of highly flammable ethylene gas leaked into the facility in less than 2 minutes. The gas found an ignition source. The explosion was equivalent to 2.4 tons of TNT detonating. The blast registered 3.5 on the Richter scale. Debris was thrown 6 miles away. 23 workers were killed. Over 300 others were injured. OSHA investigators found 566 willful safety violations. The disaster exposed a brutal truth. Phillips had cut corners to save money, hiring inexperienced workers and ignoring safety protocols. August 4, 2020, Beirut, Lebanon, 6:07 p.m. For 6 years, 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate sat improperly stored in a warehouse at Beirut's port. Lebanese officials had been repeatedly warned. Nothing was done. On this evening, a fire broke out in Warehouse 12, the same building where the ammonium nitrate was stored alongside fireworks. At 6:07 p.m., the warehouse exploded. 33 seconds later, a second, far more massive explosion followed. The ammonium nitrate detonated with the force of 1.1 kilotons of TNT, one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history. The blast was felt 150 miles away in Cyprus. A mushroom cloud rose over the city. At least 218 people were killed. Over 7,000 were injured. An estimated 300,000 people were left homeless. The explosion caused $15 billion in damage. To this day, no one has been held truly accountable. November 2018, an unnamed distribution warehouse. A forklift operator was making his way down a narrow aisle between towering pallet racks, shelves stacked 30 feet high. As the forklift approached 2 workers, the driver veered slightly to avoid them. The top of the forklift barely nudged the shelving unit. It was the smallest of bumps. But seconds later, the entire rack collapsed, burying the forklift driver under dozens of boxes. Then the domino effect began. The falling rack slammed into the shelves on the opposite side. Those shelves collapsed. The collapse spread backward through the warehouse, one rack after another crashing down like dominoes. In less than a minute, the entire right side of the warehouse had collapsed. The driver was trapped for hours. Miraculously, he survived with only minor injuries. August 12, 2015, Tianjin, China, a major port city 75 miles from Beijing. A warehouse operated by Ruhai Logistics was illegally storing thousands of tons of hazardous chemicals, including 800 tons of ammonium nitrate. The company was operating without a proper license. The warehouse was located just 500 meters from residential buildings. At 10:50 p.m., a fire broke out. Firefighters arrived and began dousing the flames with water. But the warehouse contained calcium carbide, a chemical that releases flammable gas when exposed to water. At 11:30 p.m., the first explosion occurred. 33 seconds later, a second, far more powerful explosion ripped through the port. 800 tons of ammonium nitrate detonated, equivalent to 21 tons of TNT. The blast was visible from space. A massive fireball lit up the night sky. 173 people were killed, 104 of them firefighters. Nearly 800 others were injured. It was one of China's deadliest industrial disasters.
What the
I think that might be a gas station or something.
guess? Whoa! Oh, what the?
If you found this video entertaining, please give it a like and subscribe for more.